Well, last week wasn't a good week for tipping for myself. I know a lot of you have done quite well. Not me, though. For season 2019, I've been so hot and cold. 1 week I'm good, 1 week I'm bad. Make it 2 weeks I'm bad, 3 weeks I'm bad, 4 weeks I'm bad. I don't know, some weeks I'm hot, some weeks I'm cold. Last week I was freezing. But here we are, round 6. We go again, time to redeem myself. So on Thursday night, we had the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks taking on the Penrith Panthers. Now, in my opinion, I think the Penrith have been very, very underwhelming this year. I think even their own fans will tell you that. I think everybody in the world will tell you that. Penrith Panthers have not been very good at all. Sharks have been, like me, hot and cold. 1 week they're outstanding, the other week they're not. I think it's largely due to the fact that they've had a fair few injuries. They started off the season with no injuries, and they just got hit with some real big ones in consecutive weeks. Fafita is the latest one to be out. I'm assuming he'll be out for a little while, hamstring injury. Like Trbojevic, you kind of don't want to stuff around with hamstring injuries. But Sean Johnson's back. I think they'll win. Matt Moylan's not back as far as I know. But I do think they'll have enough to beat the Panthers. I know the Penrith Panthers have been, like I said, hot and cold as well. Just last week, they were atrocious, and I've lost all faith in the Panthers. I can't keep backing them. I keep expecting them every week to sort of, I don't know, hit some form, at least play half decent, but it just doesn't seem to happen. Therefore, I think I should go with the Sharks, but I think deep down, I do think the Panthers will get their shit together. I just don't think this week. I do think the Sharks will win 1-12. Now onto Good Friday, where the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now every year, this game gets played on Good Friday, and every year there's fireworks. Well, maybe not this year though. Rabbitohs, they're on fire. They're such a good team. The Bulldogs, on the other hand, they're just not. They're not a good team. Well, some weeks they show they're a decent team. Against the Storm, they showed they were decent. Against the Tigers, they showed they were decent. But for the rest of the year, we've been absolutely shithouse. Getting towed up by the Warriors, towed up last week. Just an absolute shame job. I mean, there's no shame in losing to the Dragons, but getting like 40 points put on you, that's just not on. That is not on at all. But the Rabbitohs, you know, they just keep winning, except for against Manly, but they just keep winning, and they found a way to win last week. I didn't think they should have won. Like, I thought the Warriors should have went on with it, but they didn't. And, you know, whether that's due to the Warriors missing Blake Green or the Rabbitohs being good, it doesn't really matter. They won, and that's the main thing. Now, I do expect the Rabbitohs to win this one quite comfortably. I think they will be fired up. There should be a pretty good crowd. There usually is a pretty good crowd, and I do think it will inspire both teams. I don't think the Bulldogs will be much better this week. When you get flogged like you did last week, you don't generally have 2 or 3 weeks in a row of that. So I do think the Bulldogs will hit back. I just don't expect them to win. Maybe similar to the Eels game, where we showed a bit of fight, but the Eels ran away with it in the end. Probably something similar to that. So I will expect the Rabbitohs to win 13+. Now onto the second game of Friday night, we have the Melbourne Storm taking on the Sydney Roosters. Now for me, this is match of the round, and I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. I think these are the two top teams. A few weeks ago, I probably would have said the Rabbitohs were one of the top teams, but I think the Storm and the Roosters are on another level. The Storm, undefeated so far. They look strong every week, and even when they haven't looked at their best, they've still won and kind of never really been in that much doubt. Like, they've always been in and amongst the game. They never really, like, even when they were down against the Bulldogs, you were expecting them to come back, is what I'm trying to say. The Roosters, on the other hand, they started off a bit slow, but they've been finding their form the last few weeks. They were outstanding last week. They've been outstanding the last few weeks, and like I said in my wrap-up yesterday, from the previous week, it's kind of scary to look at this Roosters side and know that they can be a lot better than what they're playing. Like, Luke Keary is dominating at the moment. Cooper Cronk is kind of taking, not a backseat, but Keary is just being that good. But even guys like Latrell Mitchell and, you know, some of those guys aren't really doing that much. I know he scored a nice try last week, but some of their players can really step up. Now, the Roosters will be missing Joey Manu, I believe. I don't think Jake Friend's playing. Hargreaves is still out, so they do have a few outs, and there are a few key outs as well. They're not just random players. Joey Manu, great player. Jake Friend is their captain, obviously. Hargreaves, phenomenal player. Storm in Melbourne, very, very hard to beat. So for that reason, just because it's a home game, I'm going to tip the Storm. I'm going to go 1-12, but this one is a toss of the coin. On to Super Saturday, the first game is the New Zealand Warriors taking on the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, the Warriors, they're such a weird team. Like, 1 week you think they're really good, the other week you go, geez, am I even watching the same team? Same cannot be said about the Cowboys. They just suck. They really just suck. Their backline is shithouse. Their forwards are amazing, but their backs suck. But the thing, even with their forwards are very, very good. But apart from like Taumalolo, who's not there, like, I don't know, they just don't have that game winner. They have lots of very, very good players, and you'd think as a whole, as a unit, they should just be dominating teams, but it's just not happening for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because they used to have Tamalalo, who's so dynamic. Not only is he strong, but he's fast and mobile, can get offloads, great defense, great attack. Like, Tamalalo is probably the best player in the world, so he's going to be a big loss to any team. But I would have thought if any team was capable of, going on with things without him, it would have been the Cowboys, but it's not happening. Michael Morgan's doing his best, but he's not really getting too much support from the rest of the guys. But yeah, the Warriors last week, very unlucky to lose to the Rabbitohs. Like I said just before, I think they probably should have went on and won it. I don't think Blake Graham will play. Maybe if he does, I don't really know if he will play or not. But the Warriors in New Zealand, I think they'll be hard to beat this week. After being close against the Rabbitohs, I would expect them to be full of confidence. And I think the Warriors are the type of team that rely on confidence. They need to go into the game feeling good. And I think they will be feeling good after last week. They'll be feeling a bit ripped off that they didn't win that. So I think they'll be fired up. And I do think they'll get the win this week. I think they'll win 1-12. The second game of Super Saturday sees the St. George Illawarra Dragons take on the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Now, Manly have actually hit a bit of form. I never thought I'd be saying it this season, especially when Tom Trbojevic went down against the Rabbitohs. I thought that was Manly done. However, last week, they beat the Knights. Obviously, the Knights, they just suck as well. But Manly, they've actually been playing quite well. Same can be said for the Dragons. I know they touted the Bulldogs, who aren't exactly the best team, but the Dragons have been winning this season. You look at their side, like once Widdop went down, it was kind of like Trbojevic. I thought Widdop goes down, the Dragons go down, but they seem to be a lot better. I don't think it's necessarily due to the fact that, like, Widdop in particular, I think he's probably their best player. It's just due to the fact that I think Duffy at fullback, just Norman in the halves, I think they've kind of got a settled spine rather than swapping and changing it and trying to get a new combination mid-game. Like some games they'll start with Widdop at fullback and Norman in 5'8", and then swapping mid-game and having Duffy on the bench and swapping it. It was a weird scenario for the Dragons, but maybe they needed that first few weeks to sort of just fiddle around and try and work out their combinations. They needed a little bit longer than the preseason, and now they found their groove. I don't really know, but Manly, they do have a very good forward pack, but I think last week was more a reflection on the Knights. Just the Knights, something wrong there. But Manly, they are playing very well. It's a typical Des Hasler team. He's getting the best out of his players, out of the players that he's got. However, I do think they will get beat this week. I just think they'll sort of, I don't know, not run out of steam, but 3 in a row. The ball's got to drop sometime soon, and I think the Dragons just be too strong. I think their forward pack can definitely match it with Manly, and then I think their backs will get them home. So I'm going to go the Dragons 1-12. Now on to Sunday afternoon football. We have the Gold Coast Titans taking on the Newcastle Knights. Now this is quite an interesting one. Before the season had started, I would have thought both these sides would be going a lot better than what they actually are. Now after the first few rounds, you can kind of see the Titans weren't really on. You're going, yeah, Titans, no. Maybe there was a lot of hype. I don't really buy it anymore. But the Knights, you keep waiting every single week. You just keep waiting for them to explode, and it's not happening. And I don't really know why. I don't know if it's the coach's fault, player's fault, a combination. I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, they lost to Manly last week. That's a game they should not be losing, but they did lose. Callum Ponga, I think he's doing his best at fullback. He's not bad. He's playing well. I think Mitchell Pearce has really been a big letdown this year. I thought he was definitely going to be in the mix for Origin, but he has just done absolutely nothing. He's taken the captain's leadership role, and yeah, he just really has not stepped up to the plate. And they can't find any consistency in their spine. I know Ponga's gone to fullback. Will he be there for the rest of the season? Who knows? Connor Watson in and out, Leonor in and out, and the only one who's consistent is Danny Levi at hooker, and he's like one of the worst hookers in the comp. No offense, Danny, but yeah, he's not good. I mean, even last week they showed on, I think it was a Sunday Footy Show, when the game was on the line, he made some very, very poor decisions. Kind of like the Bulldogs. Like the hooker position is very, very important. It's the Roosters are so blessed that Jake Friend goes down. They can put in Radley, who's very, very good. But you have teams like the Knights and the Bulldogs and stuff with not very good players. It's the only way to say it, in the hooker position. But yeah, I don't really know what's to go with the Knights. The Titans, I don't think Ash Taylor's going to be playing this week. They finally got a win last week. They should be full of confidence. This should be the most confidence that they'll be this whole season. But they're such a hard team to read as well, because they won last week, but I've been expecting them to win kind of all season, and it's just not happening. And they get it last week, and it's like, was that a fluke? Was that just a 1 week and they're going to be done? Or is this actually going to be the new Titans? Who knows? No Ash Taylor this week though. Here's a big loss. I do think the Knights, I keep saying it every week, I do think they'll get the job done. They'll put it together this week. Who knows with the Knights though, but I don't know. I'm going to go the Newcastle Knights 13+ though. Now onto the second game of Sunday, we have the Canberra Raiders taking on the Brisbane Broncos. Now this game is obviously played in Canberra. I listed them off first, so they are the home team. The Canberra Raiders have been playing very, very well as of late, and I can't believe I'm saying that as well. It's kind of like Manly. Raiders are a team. You look at their side, they have potential to win games. I just didn't think they'd be able to do it for 80 minutes, and they have been doing it as of late. It's really weird. Well, maybe not weird. Maybe I just underestimated them. Well, obviously I underestimated them. I thought they were going to come last. I predicted them to come last. Although I will say, before that season started, I'd made the video. I said they'd come last, and then I saw some of the lineups for round one, and I went, yeah, Raiders, maybe not going to come last. But yeah, the Broncos, on the other hand, who would have thought they would be down the bottom? Like, it blows my mind how this team is down the bottom. They have some really good players. They have a really good team on paper, really, but they're just not putting it together on the field. Now, a lot of the blame seems to be coming on Darius Boyd. He's not playing great. Like, there's no way to say he is playing good, although he himself came out and said, yeah, I'm pretty happy with my form. No, mate, no, you're not playing well. But, like, who really is playing good for the Broncos? As a whole, their whole team is not playing good. Even in terms of their forwards, like, apart from that game against the Cowboys where they destroyed, like, they can't even get consistency in their forwards. Like, 1 week Pengai's there, then he's out the next week due to suspension, then Lodge is there and he's out due to suspension, and, you know, this James Roberts is in the side. I know he's a back, but he's in the side, then he gets injured and he's out. I don't know, they just can't get any consistency in their side, and they're just not producing. Like, they're not able to put even like one solid half football together. Like, and also guys like Asako and stuff who was so good last week are just playing shit, and it's not even like the game plan's that bad or anything. They're just dropping simple balls. Like, Asako's dropping bombs. Like, it's just basic stuff that they're not doing right. And I'd say for a Broncos fan, it's very, very frustrating, especially considering Wayne Bennett's gone to the Rabbitohs and had such a good effect so far. But the Raiders, they're at home. They have been playing very, very good. You would think that they can't obviously keep winning forever. Do I think they're going to go 4 in a row? I think it's 4 in a row. It's a hard one. Like I said, it's in Canberra, so they definitely got that going for them. They have been playing very, very well when they play at home. In fact, they've been playing pretty well all season, but in particular at home. Klodstad's been very, very good. You know, they've pretty settled in the halves at this point. Hodgson's dominating. The forwards are getting good go forward. The backs are doing their thing. Leipana's back. I don't know, like, before the season started, just because of the Broncos lineup, a part of me says, yeah, Broncos will win this one, but I mean, on form, you've got to go Raiders, really. So I'm going to go Raiders. I'm going to go Raiders 1-12. Now into the last game of the round. It's on Monday. It's the Parramatta Eels taking on the West Tigers. Now, I got really confused when I saw Monday, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's Easter round. So yeah, they have a game on Monday. So the Eels, they've actually been playing pretty good. Last week, obviously, didn't play good at all. Got towed up by the Raiders, who we just talked about. But I mean, the Tigers, they got the job done against the Broncos. Actually, it's pretty funny that the teams who I'm talking about right now, they played the teams I just talked about previously last week. Obviously, the Eels lost to the Raiders, and obviously the Tigers beat the Broncos. Now, the Tigers, they did find themselves pretty fortunate. The Broncos did blow quite a few tries. I mean, Fafita dropped the ball over the line. Jack Bird dropped the ball over the line in an absolute sitter. And then they ended up winning by 4 points. So who knows what would have happened if they had been able to land one of their tries. Obviously, it didn't happen though. And the Tigers, they just kept fighting, kept themselves in the game. And the Tigers, they're just one of those sides. They're not a money ball team, but they're a side of literally no big names. But they just seem to be getting the job done. That they're just finding all these hidden gems and just putting them all on the one side, and it's just working somehow. Guys like Luke Garner and even Madison to a degree. Like, he's not a huge name. Obviously, he won the premiership last year, but I mean, Twirl's pretty good. Robbie Farah's sort of found some form again. You know, they're probably an underrated side, also overrated by some Tigers fans. But yeah, the Tigers, I am liking their side. They do play some pretty good football. On the other hand, the Eels also playing pretty good football. Blake Ferguson is out, I believe. I mean, he busted his nose last week, was ineffective throughout the whole game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be playing, so he's going to be a huge loss. I think with no Ferguson, I think they'll really, really struggle. Also, the fact that you add in that Dylan Brown is still out, as far as I know. So Blake Ferguson out, Brown's still out. I do think the Eels are really going to struggle with this one. The Tigers, they've been able to field a pretty consistent lineup. And Josh Reynolds, I think his addition into the side, although he's not being like man of the match every week or anything, I just think the energy he adds to the side is great. And I do think he'll lead the Tigers to a win against the Eels. So I'm going to go West Tigers 1-12. Anyway guys, those are my predictions for round 6. Leave in the comment section below, what are your tips and predictions for the round? Anyway guys, that's all I gotta say. If you did happen to enjoy the video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram is on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT. Also go ahead and add me on Snapchat as well while you're at it. It's also Mr. Luke on YT, just the same @ on here. And go ahead and like my Facebook page as well. Been posting on that quite a bit more, so yeah, go ahead and give me a like on everything. Now, Easter's coming up. Hopefully you guys do have a good Easter. I'll still be uploading over the weekend and that, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be uploading, so keep an eye out for my videos. Righto guys, thanks for watching this. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.